Good morning and welcome to the Top Brass. Thank you for joining me again. As I've said before, if you consider yourself a leader, I consider you part of the Top Brass. And I am Jennifer Goldman. I am here to help you with your small business or nonprofit business to learn some more things that might be helpful and useful to you to give you the tools for greater success. And today I want to talk about what I'm calling the 5 elements. If you go to my resource hub, which is resonance.podia.com, you'll see a course called The 5 Keys of Program Development. But I've come to realize that the things that I call the 5 keys are really 5 essential elements for a lot of things in business and nonprofits. So I wanted to talk about them today to tell you what they are so that you can use them and hopefully get better at them. And these 5 keys or 5 elements are really good, like I said, in many cases. I use them in that course for program development, which I assumed would be used by nonprofit organizations to develop a program, and using those 5 keys to help them learn how to write out their program so that they can get funding and grants. But I've since come to realize that these 5 elements are great for things like your business plan. It could be great for product development and other things that if you learn to put these 5 elements into words, they can help you figure out your roadmap, how you want to develop a service or a program. It can help you communicate to partners that you want to bring on board to help you with developing this program or service or business. It can help you gain investors or funders, whether it's grants or a bank loan. And these elements, when put together, you can make a really great storytelling document with a lot of facts and figures. It's a great communication tool. It's a great funding tool. It's a great roadmap. And so I want to get started now. We'll talk about these. I know I probably talk faster than you can take notes. Don't forget this is YouTube, so you can watch the video again and again anytime you want. But also feel free to get in touch, leave questions in the comment section if you have just a quick question, or feel free to email or call me. As I mentioned, resonance.podia.com has our program on it, also has contact information. Please get in touch if you have more questions or need some help with this. So the first element is the need. So whether it's your business, your product, your service, your program, what is the problem that you're trying to solve? What is the need that you see that requires what you're doing or making or what you have? And you need to be specific in this. This is your chance to tell a compelling story, but it's also your chance to prove that there is a need that you're solving. So when you talk about your need, you want to state what the problem is, as well as who's having that problem and how you know that these people are having the problem. Who are these people? So what's your target market? Who are the problem people, not the problem people. Who are the people that have the problem or the need that you're trying to solve or fix? It might be an age range. It might be a geographic location of people. How do you know that they're having this problem? What is the problem? Don't be afraid to paint a terrible, opposite of the rosy picture. This is what our world or our community or our region or my town looks like without having a solution to this problem. Here's why it's devastating. Here's, how terrible it is, but here's how fantastic it would look if I were able to develop this program, service, business, whatever it is. Throw facts and figures in there because you need to make that compelling case, something that someone can fall back on to prove that you've done the research, you've done the work, and you know that this is a problem you can solve and this is why. And you also know that it's a problem. And it's a problem for this type of people or these many people. I know a lot of business owners and nonprofit leaders who will tell you that what they have, what they make, what they do is beneficial to everybody. But be more specific than that. Your target market cannot be the whole wide world. When we think about services and products, I know you can think of Amazon or Walmart and think, well, everybody can use Amazon and Walmart. Probably everybody does use Amazon and Walmart, but even those giants have to narrow it down and decide who their target market is, what's their problem, and who are they going to solve it for. And it isn't everybody, as much as we would like to think that. What we have, what we're solving, what we're offering is not for everybody. So narrow it down, as narrow as you can be. And I know it's counterintuitive as a business owner or nonprofit leader, you really want to solve the whole wide world, fix the whole wide world, sell to the whole wide world, get everybody on board with what you have to offer. But the narrower you can make your target market, that demographic of whose need you're solving, the better off you will be. It's easier to explain it that way. It's easier to sell it that way, get funders for that. So do tell the compelling story. Storytelling is very important, but back it up with the facts and the figures, do the research, do the legwork. That's element one. Element two is the timeline and metrics. So you need to come up with measurable goals. How will you know when you've solved the problem, when you've fixed it? How many people are you planning to reach? How are you going to reach them and by when? So make sure that you're tracking this timeline. Maybe, a lot of times when nonprofits are looking for grants, they know they're probably going to have a 1-year timeline. A lot of grants have that type of stipulation. It's 1 year, it might be 2 years. So fill that timeline. In 2 years, maybe you won't have fixed the entire problem, but maybe you'll have gotten so far. So define what that reach is, where you're going to be at the end of this program. It doesn't have to be a definitive timeline that says, we're going to stop, we're going to be done, we're going to fix it all by, X number of months or years. But you do need to show people where you're going and when, even if it's an ongoing thing. If it's a product, perhaps you're not planning on offering the product for 1 year and then it goes away. So you're going to need to say, okay, but in 3 months' time, we'll have accomplished X, Y, and Z, or in 1 year, this is where we will be. People need to know what it is, especially if you're looking at this as a business plan or for getting funders, investors, or other partners. They need to know that it's moving forward. You need to be able to show them measurable goals, when you're going to achieve what and when. I guess I said when twice, but yeah, it's that important. You really do need to know. So that roadmap, if you think about it, if you're trying to get from New York to California, you're going to want to know how much time it's going to take. Where are you going to stop? How, at what point will you be so many miles closer? You don't want it to be indefinitive, I think is the right word. You're going to want to know and track that roadmap as to exactly where you're stopping and approximately when you're going to get there. Same thing with your program or your product or your service. At what point will it be fully developed? At what point will it be implemented? And to whom? How is that going to be measured? It's also a great way when you put in these metrics, you have something to record and track during your product development or your program. That way, when you're all done, or when you get to a certain point, you can say, look at how many people we've helped. So as you're thinking about those measurable goals and your timeline, think about what it is you want to brag about when you're done. So you want to be tracking those things. What is it you're going to want to track during this program or product development? How will you know when you've achieved what you're planning? All of that needs to go into this timeline and metrics table. Next is partners. You need to explain who your partners are. Very few things you're going to do alone. Hopefully you're not wearing so many hats that you're wearing all of them. So who is going to help you deliver this product or service or help you with your business as you achieve it? And it might be someone as instrumental as, I'm creating this product and here's the person who's actually going to physically make it. It might be, I'm developing this program in the community and I'm partnering with this youth organization to make it work or to carry it out. Anyone who's going to be part of this program or business or service, you should put in here. Now, that also means that you're going to need to talk to those people and make sure that they're on board. And that comes with a lot more than just, this description that we're putting together here. So you may want to write them into this ahead of time so that you have the plan to show them and say, here's how you would fit into this project. That might be the best way for you to communicate it. Of course, you are going to need to be willing to change it if they decline. It might be better for you if you talk to these partners first and at least getting their interest. But think about who those partners will be. It might be the funder as a partner or a grant person. It might be your local SBDC. It could be, I'm trying to think of all the partners I've come up with. There are so many partners and it depends on whether you're putting together a program or business or a service, but think about who else is going to be helping you along this way and define their role. In this element, you're going to need to not just say who the partner is, but what their role is. Are they helping you with money? Are they helping you with maybe volunteer time, physical labor? Are they helping you with being part of an advisory committee, legal help? What is their role in this? How much time do you expect them to spend on this? What is the extent of that partnership? Is it formal? Is it informal? And you need to have all of that defined for the partner as well as for yourself when you're putting together this business plan or program description. So there's a lot that can go into those partnerships. Like I said, it's up to you. You may want to develop those partnerships ahead of writing this, or you may want to write it into it to help explain when you go and approach those partners. Either way, just make sure that you aren't distributing this plan or roadmap, including partners who haven't already agreed. So it's fine to write them in just to show it to that partner to get their buy-in. Don't go showing this to a funder saying I have this partner if they're not already on board. So just be careful if you go ahead and write them in first as a way to explain to them that you're not distributing without their permission. And the next element is the budget. And this is where it can get tricky, especially if you're just getting started with a new business or program or service. But you're going to have to do your research here. What is the budget for this? How much money are you going to need to put all of this together? And maybe the budget is coming from different places. Maybe the budget is you're going to get a grant for part of this. Maybe you're getting, mom's writing a check for part of this. But what you're trying to do, especially if you go back and you look at that timeline, by the end of that timeline, how much money will you have spent to make this work? And try to think about everything, including, all of the overhead and the costs that we don't always think about. You need to include that there as well. So just make sure, and it's a great thing, maybe some of your partners can help you with this, to get outside eyes, especially as I know for me, I'm like, when it comes to math, always get somebody else to check it out, because it's one thing for proofreading and we can be pretty good at that and we have spell check and all these things, but when you're talking about numbers in your budget, make sure somebody else takes a look at it and says, oh, this makes sense, or wow, you missed this big thing. So just have others take a look at it, put other eyes on it, make sure the math is right, make sure that you haven't missed including anything in that budget that might be easily overlooked but really essential. It's okay to miss a few little tiny things that won't make a big difference in it, but you want to be as thorough as you can, because by the time you're done, really all of this, whether it's a program, a service, a business, a nonprofit, it's not going to go well if you can't make money, if you can't make things profitable and sustainable. So make sure that that budget is reasonable. Don't make it too low and then wind up having to spend more money. I know we tend to want to do that, to make things fit into funding sources we know we can get that aren't exactly as much as we want, but don't do that. Don't try to shrink your program or service into a box that you might not fit into, because then you're left holding the bag at the end. So make sure that budget is reasonable. You don't want to shoot the moon, but you don't want to cut yourself off at the knees and wind up having something that's not profitable in the end. And then the last element is the program description, which also we could call the executive summary. So, really in a document, this is going to go first. If you're putting this together and compiling it to take to a funder or a partner, the program description or executive summary is going to go first, but I always recommend writing it last, because it's a lot easier to write once you have written down all of the other elements, because you can draw from them to make that executive summary. So what you want to do basically is you want to tell the compelling story. Who is it I'm helping? What am I helping them with? You want to also talk about why you're the best person to do this. What makes you qualified? So in that executive summary, go back through and draw, we're going to spend X dollars over whatever time to get us from A to Z. Here's, what we're going to do, step by step, how we're going to accomplish what we're doing. And while you're putting that in there, also, you're going to want to say what your qualifications are. Why are you the person in the program description? Why are you the person who's going to be doing this? Or why is your business the one that's going to be doing this? How do you know? How can you prove that you will be successful at this? What is it you're bringing to the table? So that's why I don't always like using the words executive summary, because that means that these things were probably elsewhere in the document. But in the program description, it can be a bit more thorough than in an executive summary, where you're just going to walk through step by step. Here's how we're putting all of these other elements together. And here's how it's going to be successful. And here's why it's me that's going to make it successful. And all of those things married together will give you one really good document and roadmap to tell the story of how you're going to launch your business, develop your program, create a new service or a product that you're going to take to market. So if you follow those 5 elements, it's a really good start. I know other things can go into these documents. These are the 5 keys, the 5 elements that I find to be essential. And like I said, you can use them in so many ways to help you get ahead in business, whether it's just internally. It could just be a really great roadmap so you know where you're going over the next how many ever years. A tool to show your employees. Here's where we're going. Here's why. Here's how. It answers all of those questions. So it can just be an internal document to help you understand the path that you're taking to where you want to be, or it can be a great communication tool for speaking to partners and gaining others in the community that you need help and assistance with. It can also be a great tool for talking to investors and funders to help you fund this new business or program or service that you're providing. So I hope this helps you. Like I said, if you go to resonance.podia.com, you'll see the whole course is there. Each one of the 5 elements is called a 5 key or a key of program development there on that. And each course can be taken separately. It's a quick thing. It's not long. It's 5 keys, 5 videos. And hopefully that you'll find that's helpful. And please, like I said, leave me comments, ask me questions, get in touch if you want to know more. I'd also love to hear from you, just to see, what you like about these videos. Is it useful? Is it helpful? What other things do you want to learn? What would help you be more successful with your business or your nonprofit? So at the end of this video, if you go back to the beginning slide, you will see a QR code that will take you to that resource hub that I've talked about. And at the end, you should see a slide that will tell you how to subscribe to the channel so that you can learn more and get notifications when we talk about more topics for your business and nonprofit. Thank you so much for joining me. Have a great day.